everyone, welcome back. I'm AYK Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with Spey whiskey, the chairman's choice. So this is a whiskey that sits at 40% ABV, and it has a selection of casks going into this. So some bourbon, some sherry, but it's basically the chairman's selection of whatever whiskies he wanted to put into it. And I think originally it was only meant to be drunk by the family, but now of course available to others as well. And the Spey distillery is of course located in Speyside here in Scotland, and originally it was a barley mill and a croft dating back to I think the 1700s, but in 1965 they closed it down and then started converting it into a single malt distillery, which then started producing spirits in 1990 on Christmas Day, I believe. And once more, a massive thank you to Kev, who let me borrow this bottle and have a little sip so I can try it for you guys. I'm of course a big fan of this bottle design. They look a bit like olive oil bottles, and love it. The only problem is that they're quite tall, so sometimes they don't fit on shelves. But I mean, it doesn't matter of course for flavour, but for experience, I think having a nice bottle sitting on your shelves, that's what I want. I want it to look nice. Like right now it looks a bit of a mess. You've seen my whiskey shelves, and if you haven't, please check out that video. But it's I wish it could be a little bit more organised. My OCD can't really cope, but side note, let's try the whiskey. Start with having a nose. Oh, there's such a different nose. It's like a bomb of flavours, or a bomb of aromas hitting your nose. Very much honey and sweetness and like density. It's quite sweet and very fruity, but fruity mixed with that honey. It's like if you stewed fruits with honey maybe, because it's quite dense and big and very fruity. Very much like green apples, I would say, but a bit like apple pie maybe. It feels very fresh. Like maybe it's like stepping into a barn where there's a freshly made apple pie, but a lot of honey around you because it's so sweet. It's more that dense honey, like very much honey. Like in some other whiskies I get honey aromas, but they're often quite toned down. This is like a bomb of honey, like a honey bomb. A little bit floral and grassy, but primarily it's the big fruitiness, and I can't even pick out what fruits because this maybe toffee apples or honey apples, because it's that fresh crispness like that you can get from apples, but then the honey note is just confusing me. Let's move on to having a little taste instead. Slàinte. So soft and gentle. It has definitely a malty note, but it's not overly drying, or it doesn't take over. And very juicy, quite fresh. And it's still that honey apple maltiness that comes together and feels very, very approachable. In a way, it feels like a bit of a vintage taste. It's something like, if I'm comparing it to like Chivas Regal 12, to me it's so fruity and fresh that it feels quite modern in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's because this has the influence of the malty notes, but it's not robust, it's just so smooth and easygoing and gentle and welcoming. It feels like you could have picked this bottle up in, I don't know, the 70s, and it could have been like an old version of some whiskey that has now evolved into something else, but I think it's really nice that this sits at this flavour because it just feels quite genuine in a way. And I know some people might try this and they would say that it's too easygoing or too smooth, but I think because of the flavours it has, primarily that kind of apple pie, malty, honey. It just, yeah, to me it works really well. A little bit of a grassiness on the palate as well, which gives it more of that kind of fresh feeling. Generally when something's malty, I don't feel like it's that fresh. It usually feels more drying or maybe denser. Or the maltiness goes along oakiness. This doesn't feel overly oaky, which I think means that it feels more fresh to me. I'm really enjoying this one. A lovely, lovely nose. I would of course love to hear what you think. Have you tried any of the Spey whiskies? They do have some interesting ones. I've also tried their Tenay, I think you say it. It's port influenced, well, port matured influenced whiskey, which is pink. It's really weird, but it's pink. And I also believe that is natural colour, which really intrigues me even more. But I would love to hear what you think of the Spey whiskies, especially if you tried the Chairman's Choice, of course. And if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I would be absolutely thrilled if you would consider using my affiliate links with Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society next time you're shopping with them. All those links are of course in my description here below, as well as links to my website, my Patreon, my Teespring shop, and my Instagram if you're curious about that. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Slán Skål.